So the most important thing about Leroy, in my opinion, is his Hermit Stance. He has a lot of things that are going to go into it, a lot of tricky ways to go into it, so that you could never really see it coming. I compared it earlier to Negan, and Negan only has like 2 things that are of value that takes him into intimidation. So as long as you're on guard for those, you're good. Leroy's going to keep you guessing pretty well, because he has a lot of just basic poke-type kicks, and a lot of them leave him into Hermit, and a lot of them he can stop short. So it's a lot about rhythm with him. You can keep your rhythm fresh. They won't be able to anticipate you. You can just wreak all kinds of havoc with Hermit. You can do it on its own by just pressing 3+4. And while you're in this stance, which is permanent, he will automatically parry lows. Let me just show you what that looks like while we're here. Like that. And this gives him a frame advantage. It says of 16. So I should be able to get that for free. I've not been able to tech out of it unless there's a specific thing you have to press in order to make him do that. That seems to be them stuck for 16 frames. So I don't know if that follow-up is actually for real or not yet. I haven't tested it out with 2 controllers or another person or whatever. But either way, if it's not, 16 is a huge advantage for you to be able to go for like a big low or an orbital launcher or something like that. So automatic low parries out of Hermit is great news already. While you're in Hermit, you can't cancel out of it, but you can press back 2 to do his parry. We'll cover more about that later. And the other alternative is up and down will let him sidestep out of Hermit and go back to neutral. So right away, that's a very different approach that a lot of characters don't have in their stance. Some can just auto-block, but a lot of times characters get stuck. Like Zafina Scarecrow, she has to do something or else you're just kind of boned. In Leroy's case, he can go back to parrying mids and highs. He automatically deals with lows, or you can sidestep. So that's kind of cool already that you can bide your time and not go all in with this stance. You can still be patient. So while you're in the stance, he's got several options. All of them are really good. There's counter hit launches, there's pokes, there's great stuff everywhere. One is a mid palm strike, relatively slow, but it's safe on block. It's a pretty nice move to just have once you've got them fearing your mix up and they're not going to challenge you. He's got much faster options like 2-1, which if they do start challenging you, moves like this will usually beat them out. It depends on the frame advantage you have. We'll cover that in a second, what it's like when you enter Hermit on hit or on block. But 2-1 is a very fast option. This is a high, so if they learn to recognize that, they can duck it if it doesn't hit them. 3-4 is another natural combo, and this is low-mid. Does not need to be a counter hit, so you don't have to worry about fishing for. You can just, once you're in Hermit, you're pretty much going to get that for free if they don't know how to anticipate you. His standing 4 is one of the only attacks that leaves him back into Hermit. Now, this is 11 frame kick, so that's pretty fast too for stopping challenges. He can do 4 or 4, 1+2, another natural combo. The ender won't be safe on block. This is -14, so you kind of want to be sure that you're going to hit him with it. But if you know, like in the back of your head, that they're going to go for something and they're going to guess your mix-up wrong, it's not too bad to just let that rip sometimes. It's a nice bit of damage. 1+2 out of Hermit. This move is slightly faster than the original mid. It causes a knockdown and a wall bounce, and it's only -10 to pay the price. So that's pretty good all around. A 15 frame startup, which if you do it correctly, they won't be able to challenge. You can bounce them off the wall and get your combo, and you're only risking -10. That's pretty good all around. Forward 1 out of Hermit. This is 14 frames on startup. Causes that knockback and a spin. Will screw attack an airborne opponent. And this is 0 on block, which is really good if you ask me. A versatile move like that that's 0 on block takes you right back to neutral is very good. Back 1 out of Hermit is this big overhead chop. This guy is +4 on block. This is an excellent move all around, not to mention being a counter hit launcher. Pretty good. Very linear. If they go for the sidestep option, they're going to catch you with that one. But you do have moves like that. What is it? Forward 1. Forward 1 should catch most tracking opponents, as well as back 4. This low is a homing move. They're not going to be able to sidestep you if they go for that. This crushes under highs, beats sidestep, works pretty well on itself. Counter hit launcher, once again. If they catch this on a counter hit, boom, combo. Only -13. Pretty good low. Pretty good all around. And the last option is forward 4, which is basically just his same orbital kick launcher. 0 on block, once again, natural combo. So, that's a pretty good set of moves. Pretty good all around. There's several quick little pokes that are meant to keep the opponent from challenging you. There's a couple bigger ones that if they do challenge you, you can get counter hits if the timing works out right. And a lot of good frame advantage. And even good frame disadvantage when that occurs. This move only being -13 is pretty damn good in my opinion. So learn Hermit very well. Learn how to use it and when to use it and when to just back out and, you know, go back to normal. So let's go over the strings that'll leave you in the Hermit Stance, which is what you're going to use more often. You're very rarely going to just go into it. You're going to get it by virtue of going in some strings that go directly in like that. Now, I've not seen any strings where he can avoid going into Hermit. I feel like it's automatic in every single case. He can't just not do it. It's most similar to Josie. Every time she ends a string with a 4-kick, it leaves her in switch foot. There's nothing she can do about it. But in her case, she has frame advantage that the mix-up is free every time. She has a button that beats all challenges, and she has options there. In Leroy's case, if the string gets blocked when he goes into Hermit, he can be anywhere from -3 to -9. Which means they have the advantage in that situation. You cannot routinely beat them out with your own buttons. Their jab would beat you every time, etc., etc. The one example, or one exception, is down 4-4. This is -11. So they can punish you straight up if they block this first. It's low mid, and it's not a natural combo. But outside of that, anything like these other strings, if they get blocked, you're going to be negative when you get into Hermit, so you got to be careful there. Anything else, if that hits them, like this 10-frame Punisher, if they get hit, Leroy should have a significant advantage, anywhere from 3 to 9, meaning he can go for buttons without being challenged. So you really, really need to master seeing that. If you do a string, if you do this string and you saw that it connects, you have the luxury to go for an unbeatable option or a heavier mix-up. The ball is in your court in that situation. If it's blocked, the ball is in theirs. So the strings that do this are 1, 2, 4. It's 10-frame Punisher. The only way out, I think the basic way out is just the parry. There's not a better way to do it, honestly. You can't cancel. You got to do something or sidestep, whatever. Forward 2, 3 is a decent little poke, but the third hit is not natural. They're going to be able to block that 4 unless you caught the counter hit. So by virtue, the balancing that is, if they do get hit by that, you get a whole +8 when you end up in Hermit. So if you do take the risk and that does land, you get better frame advantage for Hermit. Down forward 1, 4. This is a natural combo. +6 or -6. Hit or block. Down forward 4 by itself, basically the same kick. And while standing 1, 4, again, basically the same thing. All of those are natural combos, leave you in Hermit. Down 1, 2, 4 is a little interesting. This is a duck jab. It's a special mid that can get low parried, and this requires a counter hit, but can actually work pretty well. If you know an opponent's going to try to pit bull you, duck jabs are really good for stopping that. So you can go right into this. You'll get that whole string if it's a counter hit and right into Hermit. That's actually pretty solid. The best overall one, in my opinion, is this. Down 3, 2. It's the only one that doesn't end in a 4-kick. And this gives you the best frame advantage. You're +8 when you end up into Hermit this way. You can do pretty much whatever you want to. The only drawback is it's low-high. It can get ducked if you're not quite careful about how you do it. But I think it's the best one. Down 4, 4 is the other low that we talked about. And this is unsafe on block. It's one of the worst options. But it's there. If you know you can catch them, go for it. Forward, forward, 4. This is a good one too. You get a nice advantage when you end up in Hermit, but it's mostly for faking out purposes. Forward, forward, 4-2 looks like that. So they kind of want to be on defense against blocking that, and if they're not ready, you cancel and stop into Hermit, you've got them frozen. So those are pretty much all the ways to go into it. This info will be in the Google Doc that I'll link in the description. So just know that when you hit them and you transition to Hermit, you still have the advantage to press, and if you get blocked, you should be ready to parry their counterattack or sidestep out of the way.